Hi guys, this is Vishal here from DrapCode. So in this video, we will understand how to use ChatGPT in DrapCode. We are covering a use case where we will generate some AI written content from ChatGPT. We are not building chatbot here. That is something which we'll cover in some other tutorial. So here we are just creating a prompt and then passing some dynamic values in the prompt, getting the output of the prompt and storing in some other field. So let's say I want to generate some job description on the basis of some parameters, or maybe I want to generate a person profile or summary, like whatever we want to do. We are just passing some parameters in the prompt, creating the parameter prompt. Whatever the response is coming, we are storing in some other collection field so that we can use it forward, right? So let's see how that can be done in DrapCode. So we have a plugin called GPT. So I'll go to the plugin. So this is a plugin which is needed where you can basically configure the keys and all other things, right? So I go and install the plugin. So we'll be using GPT 3.5 here. So we have 4 and other GPT, but that is something which we'll cover in other tutorials. So we need a secret key, which is your API key for ChatGPT. You can find it in your GPT account. So I've pasted the key, all these things, I'll keep it as it is. You can modify it as per your use case, right? And I'll just say install plugin. So these are the cases where the value will come from tnet or from some environment variables. But as of now, we have just hard coded it. Okay, I'll just install the plugin. So as soon as we install the plugin, so it will create a collection called GPT conversation. So this is the collection which got created. So this will basically store all the queries which are going to GPT, the request and the response, right? Apart from that, in the external APIs, you will see one more section, which is ChatGPT. So this is basically where you can actually create the prompts, okay? And then we'll see how we use it. So we have one collection got created and one prompt creation process got created, right? So now let's do something. So I have a collection called company, which has 3 fields, which is name, website URL, and description. Okay. Now what I want to do, I want person to put the name of the company and the URL of the company, the website of the company, and I want to generate the description using ChatGPT, where I say, okay, here's the URL of the company. Can you give me a short description for this? And we'll create a prompt for this. Okay. Let's see how that can be done. And one more thing, when you want to track the conversation, so there is one way where you don't want to track. So let's say you have just given an API call and then you get the response, that's fine. Let's say you want to do further communication where you want the past the chat history, or basically the conversation which you are having with, that option is also there. So that also we'll cover in a while. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll go, first of all, I'll create a prompt. Okay. So I go to my external APIs, I go to the prompt and I'll say create. Okay. So let's say generate company description. This is the default API bind collection. So we want to send the data from company to here. We will give those parameters as variable in the prompt and then process the response. So here we are just creating the prompt. So I'll copy my prompt. So this is the prompt which I'm using, given the URL of the company, and this will pass as a parameter. Please generate a short description for the same. A very simple prompt. Okay, this I want a dynamic URL which will vary from company to company what data the person is providing. So I'll say website URL. I'll just embed this variable. So this now will go as a dynamic parameter for each company. Okay, so I'm saying given the URL of the company, this, please generate a short description for the same. That's all. Okay, very simple prompt. And I'll just go and create. Okay, so a prompt got created. Now we have 2 pages, a company list page and a company create page. A company list page is just list of companies, okay, where we are displaying the name, the URL and the generated description. Okay, we'll see how we populate this generated description value. And then we have a company create page where it's just simple form where we are asking only the name and the website URL. We are not asking the description because that is something which we are going to generate from ChatGPT. Okay, so let's go and create an event, right? So I'll go and create an event. This is the most important part where we are creating an event and we will be calling the ChatGPT API. So I'll say and generate description. create. So the very first thing I want to do when the form gets submitted in the collection to save the data, I'll say first save the data of the company in the company collection. Okay, let's say company saved, error in saving. Okay, so this is the simple step. Now we want to call GPT, run the prompt, get the description, store the description in the company collection, right, in the description field. So I'll go to this. So this got enabled only when we have installed the GPT plugin, right? So I'll say start new conversation. So we have two options when you are just making the very first call to GPT to get something, and continue conversation when you want to do back and forth communication with the previous history like you do in a typical chatbot, right? So I'll say start new conversation. Which prompt I want to execute? I'll say generate company description, the prompt. Okay, now the response, whatever the response of the prompt is coming, in which field I want to save. So I'll say when the response comes for description, store in description field. That's all. Conversation field ID. So this is something which we'll cover in a while. So this is a field where you want to provide the conversation ID of from the ChatGPT collection. So this is basically to track the conversation. So if you are having back and forth communication with ChatGPT to update company description, maybe generate some properties, categories, and all those things, so that you can pass the overall communication back to GPT. So as of now, we are not tracking conversation ID. So I'll just leave it as blank. Okay. And use page collection. So we are saying whatever the collection is binding to the page, update the description in the same collection. And I'll say a success message. So it's optional, but let's say GPT success. That's all. Save. And after that, probably we can just redirect to the list page of the company, right? Company list page. That's all. So we have saved the data. We have made a call to prompt, and then generate the description, store the description in the description field, and then redirect the user. Now let's go and bind this event to the form. So I'll go to the company collection form and then bind the event. In the event, I'll choose the event which we just created, save company and generate description. Okay. Now I'll click preview. So this is my form. And this is my list page. As of now, there is no data. So it's nothing, right? So I'll just go and create a company. Okay. Before that, let's go and check in the collection if there's anything. In company, there is nothing. Conversations, nothing, right? So I'll say company, let's say DrapCode, URL, website. Okay, so I'm giving two fields, name and URL, and I'm saying generate the description, which will get generated from the prompt. So I'll just click submit. So it will save the data. It has saved, given me a success message, and now it is calling GPT API to generate the description. GPT success, the one which we have given. Here you can see this is the name, URL, and this is the description which got generated from GPT. Maybe there is some issue. I don't know why it is showing some random description. Maybe we need to improve our prompt. So now if I go to conversation, I will be able to see some conversation. So these are the two conversations. So this is the system generated first message, and this is the response of the prompt, right? So this is system and this is assistant. So these are the roles which GPT track at their end, right? Now if I go to description, company description, I should be able to see the description. So here it is. So this is the description. If you go and edit it, the description is here, right? Now let's try for some other company. I'll say Amazon. Okay, and I'll just say submit. So same thing, it will save the data. It will make a prompt call for GPT, generate the description of Amazon, and redirect to the list page. So this is right description, right, on the basis of prompt, right? So now let's understand the concept of conversation ID. So basically these are the GPT conversations which are happening. So now we have 4 because this is the system and this is a assistant. Now let's say we want to do further communication. We are saying, oh, now you've generated a company description. Can you generate a list of keywords for me? What should I be targeting? Or let's say list of some categories, like in which category the company should fall. So I need that back and forth communication, right? So in that case, what we can do, we can go to the company and just create one more field, which is a conversation ID, right? So that it remember that for this particular company, what is the thread, what is the number of conversations which are in the ChatGPT conversation collection. Conversation ID. Okay. It is a normal text field. So this is basically just to keep track of the conversations from this list, so that we know that for this particular company or for this particular record of data, what all conversations are going on in GPT. Okay, so that when next time when you go and update, like go and execute another prompt, it will send the list of all previous conversations to get a better result. Right, now I go to the event. In the event, I'll just edit this. In here, I'll give this prompt conversation field ID, which is the conversation ID which we just created. I'll just save this. So now it will be able to track the conversation, right? I'll go back again, reload the page. Now let's generate description for some other company. Let's say Microsoft. Okay, so Microsoft, the description is here, generated by GPT and all those things. Now if I go to my collection, the company description should have conversation ID. So this is basically to track that which conversations are happening for Microsoft or this particular record in the whole GPT conversation. So this will help you to basically distinguish the list of conversations which are happening for that particular record. This you can use in the update event. So like we have one more event. So now let's say we have further communication. Let's say generate categories for company. So here when we are generating, we can basically call this event in the continue conversation. We can again create a prompt, and then here we can give the conversation ID. So when it is calling the next prompt, it already know that what are the previous conversation which happened with this particular set of records, so that it gives you the output on the basis of all that conversation, right? So this is a very simple use case where we are creating some data and generating some AI driven description or some text from ChatGPT, making a call without writing any code. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you again in the next video. Bye bye.